What's going on, everybody, and welcome back. On this episode, I speak with Jake Widmann. Now listen, Jake's story is literally all over the place, and it was just too much for me to fit in one video, so I picked very few specific pieces of our conversation that I knew you guys would find value in. The way that Jake has not allowed all the negativity in his life to impact his perspective is truly unique. So listen close, guys, and enjoy my interview with Jake Widmann. You coming from the bottom, where everything's like, we'll just call it sucked. Everything sucked.
Yep.
And moving through, learning to love yourself more, learning to love the people around you more, learning to actually, like how I like to call it, become enlightened, right?
Yeah.
Understand things from a different perspective, almost an unbiased perspective.
Yeah.
What do you think, as you went from, the DUIs, the jail time, everything like that, and things started to turn, what did your perspective on everything around you, how did that change? Did you start to look at the people around you in a more positive way or a more negative way, and why?
Yeah. Good question. So I would certainly say that I've always had a love for people. Like, I've always just enjoyed genuine connection, no matter where I was, whether I was before I deployed to Afghanistan still in a terrible situation. This was right as I was deploying, going to New York, just making a complete drunken ass out of myself in New York City, but still like sitting down with whether it was a homeless person in the metro, the subway, or just, we ran into some people while we were out at the bar getting some drinks, and just like, I've always been one to just reach further than just that, how's the weather, how's your weekend, how's life, yeah. So I've been, where are you from, what's people's history, what's their story?
You like to dig.
That's
what I like to do.
Intrigued by people, and I guess I've got a little off topic, but I don't know if you've ever heard of the word Sonder, but it's just that, like, it's really like poetic, but it has, like, every open window, every you pass by on the highway, and every car you pass by, every window you pass by that's lit up at night, every office window, every single person that you interact with or don't interact with in any given day or lifetime has their own story that's uniquely in depth and uniquely as many struggles and uniquely challenging as yours is. So it just creates this human element to, like, it explains like what it means to be a human in this really poetic way about kind of what life is and what it means to be human.
No, I really like that. Perspective for me is everything. So I made a lot of the decisions that I had to make, where I had to pick up and move from South Jersey into Center City. I've had to make decisions with both of the businesses that I'm trying to run and grow that a lot of people would look at from their perspective and not understand.
Right.
But up until this point, I've been able to put together some of the things that I've really worked hard to put together, really because I stuck to keeping my perspective, from my opinion, unbiased. So being unbiased, it's allowed me to look at my successes and failures from a very objective point of view, where I can pull pros and cons out of both situations to learn and grow from. Because I really do, honestly, I know for myself, everybody can argue with me and say whatever they want, but I know I learn from failure. Like, last night I went to see this like haunted house thing, and that's so not me. Like, you can't, no matter how much money I make, I'll never pay to get scared. Like, I just won't, I can't justify it, right? But like, I went and I did it last night because I knew that I was gonna go there and I was gonna be shaking and my palms were gonna sweat. And I learned this from Rory, who I did an interview with before. I'm growing. I literally was in line, like, I hope Rory's watching. I'm in line thinking to myself, like, damn, I'm growing. That's my perspective on growth. So how did your perspective change as time went on and you started to really pull away from all the doom and gloom that your life was, and things started to move in a more positive direction?
Because my experience is somewhat unique, just in the sense that there aren't a whole lot of people in the military that have that experience or can understand that. So it began, I would say, overseas. I'm making money. I'm my mom had my checkbook before I left, so I'd say, write a check to Judd, pay off what I owe him, pay this, that, and this, and so, and then coming back and kind of putting life on pause before I leave, because you're not going to say, hey, you need to come home from overseas to handle this court date. So. Coming home from overseas, having this clarity that, now I have a savings, I have this, and not everybody has that opportunity. So I don't want to spend too much time on that, but anybody can overcome anything with just a little time, that patience that I talked about. How I was able to see the change, or when I saw the change, is when I was spending less time with the people that, and without sounding like that victim that I was, that kind of helped get me into that situation in the first place. So spending more time by myself before I left, or when I was gone too, I spent time reading. So that personal development is so huge. spent a lot of time talking with a good friend lately that I met through a friend of my wife's actually, about what it means to like know who you are, self-discovery, all that stuff. I've been huge into that lately because I think as I've been trying to figure out who I am and where I want to be, that the podcast and you know, kind of sharing with you exactly why I didn't think it was my full fit is just because I can't sit at a computer all day and be there. I need to be out doing stuff like this.
It was the wrong vehicle. That's all I think. For
Yeah.
you. I think the podcast was just like you're like, because what we're going to go into right now is, like you just said, everything you say just goes back to these people. You changed who you hung out with. You changed where you spent your time, and that was everything, right?
Yeah.
But the last point I wanted to touch on with you is, I like when everybody here can watch these episodes, share your story, because your story has so many valuable nuggets. But if there was one piece that you could kind of give to people in our generation that's they're trying to get that kickstart, know my life needs to shift. Maybe it is my health, maybe it is I have too much debt with my wealth, maybe it is myself, I don't meditate, I don't read, I have no control over myself. How would you encourage everybody here in like less than a minute, how could you give them advice to get that shift started?
Right, so definitely the major theme of what we've been talking about is just the people in your life. So being able to go out, whether it's going out of you're going to need to step outside your comfort zone. I'm sorry to say that, but you're going to need to step outside your comfort zone. Like I said, I'm not religious still, but I went to church because I had someone to take me there, my wife. But you don't need I'm your encouragement. Go to church. Go find a person that you can link up with.
Or even a group. It can be a group, like a support group.
Yeah, exactly. I shouldn't say go to church. It can be anywhere. No, but that was just where I found it.
Community.
Yes. Find people that aren't going to judge you and will just either, whether it's listen, get you talking, get you doing something outside of your comfort zone, like I said, whether it's talking, you opening up to them opening up to you, and finding ways that you can slowly, surely inch forward and find your way out of hell where you might be, or kind of on the depths of hell where you maybe used to be, or something like that. But it's all about the people that you're surrounding yourself with. It's everything that you're surrounding yourself with, really. But if you change from listening to Lil Wayne to listening to Mumford & Sons, that's not going to have the most dramatic shift as hanging around with Juvenile Joe to hanging out with whoever, some guy that isn't always in and out of trouble.
And then even tie it full circle here. If you are not in the place that you want to be with your health, start hanging around people that eat healthy, exercise, that do better. You know what's going to happen to your health? It's going to shift your mindset about health, and it's actually going to physically shift the health in your life.
Like you said,
and
everything.
And the same thing for your wealth. If you're surrounded in debt, hang around people that understand how to handle debt. If you are not attracting the kind of money you want to attract to yourself, hang around people who have already attracted that kind of money. What do you think will happen to you? What do? You become the average of them, right?
Yeah, exactly, man.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Yes,
seriously.
absolutely.